I want to go over the production process to best tackle the film scene by scene. You're well underway, but this might streamline things and make it much easier. So first, I want to take a look at my storyboard. So I have scene one, and actually I've got scene 1A because I got rid of my zoom here. So I just want the background to show where we are in a close-up on the sign. Then I go through the action here. So there's scene two. Or scene one, actually. Scene two. There's three poses. And all of this is the same setup up to here. So I'm looking at my character, and I cut back, and then I have the hawk zoom in. So my first two scenes, if not three scenes, are all in the same side of my background. So the best thing to do is create folders and have a max file for each of them. That way, when I change camera position, I can actually bring a camera in and make sure it is lined up to the shot for scene one. And then in the next one, I'll copy and save the max file with all the elements here because it's exactly the same on this one. And then I want to make sure that the action on this one hooks up to this one. So I'll do this max file. I'll sort it all out. And then I'll do a save as scene two. And then when I have the same scene one in scene two, I will grab all the keys and delete so that it's staying at the last pose, and then grab that pose and make sure it's at frame one, and then that way, any dialogue, any sound effects, I'm going to render where my sound lines up with my storyboard images that I've timed out, so that I can import the sound into this max file that starts at frame one, and I animate until there is no sound, and then I know it's the end of the scene. When I render out those images into a folder for my PNGs, and that's in my scene 2 folder, that will be all ready to import into my animatic, and it will plug into that spot perfectly. Anyway, so what I recommend is for each scene, create a folder, and we're going to fill it with all of the assets that you need for it. You can see a lot of my shots are the same left hand view of my background. My other shots are like scene 3 are going to see the 3/4 front view of the hawk and the other side of the room. So as I finish one scene with everything all in there, backgrounds, everything, all I got to do is save as and label it the next scene. In this case, scene 6, and so on and so forth. And then I can just move forward, and very quickly I can get all the scenes done and plugged into the animatic. So what I need is 13 scene folders. Actually, it's going to be 14 because I have a 1A. I didn't renumber everything. I just made it one. But I got two scene ones. So then I know how many scenes I've got. I can start putting my scene folders together and working from there. So now let's take a look at the animatic. Different in that we can see the timing, we can see how short scenes are, how long they are, and then help organize what it is we need. So this is my animatic from my storyboard.
License renewal. Sure. Oh, you need a new photo. And I love this part. I always wanted to be a paparazzi. The glamour, the action, the lights. Wow, you have a real passion for photography. Oh, yeah. Here, let City School get you on the road to a new career. Oh, thank you, strange sir. Who was that masked man anyway?
So there we go. Quite quick. Again, I've got 14 shots. let me just start out here. So this is one shot. I got rid of the camera because I found that when we introduce camera movement in year one, that it gets overused and abused. So I want to make sure we have building blocks throughout the 3 years. So first year, really solid cutting, composition, straightforward storytelling. So this is my 1A shot. So I need this for timing, how long I want that background to be recorded for this signage. And again, now that we're here at this shot, here is my scene 1. And you'd seen in the audio that I have the stamp sound. So I need that audio trimmed out of my audio of my animatic here and put into the max file that I'm using on this character. That way I can make sure that the pacing and the timing and it's all going to sync up. And what I used for the sound on this was actually a hole punch to get that stamp sound. So you can see after this, a few punches. Now, this is the exact same shot, and this is where I would do a save as from scene 1 and use the exact same setup, same characters, same elements, same background, except repositioning the camera out so that we can see this whole view here. And that's to make room on the right here for the hawk to fly into. So what you would do here is save that max file. I would grab all of the keys except for the last one, delete, and bring that key to 1. And now you're ready to move forward on that animation. So you bring in the audio for this scene, and it'll all sync up. And when that audio ends is the end of the scene, and that's how many frames you export as PNGs and then bring into your animatic to have the finished animation. That'll all sync up to the audio. If you render the audio shot by shot from your animatic, all based on your storyboard, and render out how many frames you've paced out for your images, your animation will all fit right back in perfectly. Okay, so let's take a look. And here he comes zooming in. I think that's the only time I use the 3/4 back of the hawk. So I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time rigging that, just what's necessary for that scene. Now we have this shot. So this is my second setup. This is the other side of the building. So this one I am going to do save as for all the shots of the 3/4 front of the hawk. And that way, if I animate this scene, all my next ones I can animate from the same setup and maybe just change the camera and change the characters, substituting some hands or adding other assets, like on this one, the piece of paper he's handing him. So that's got a very specific purpose for this scene. So I can set that up. That way, if I have a folder with a max file for every scene, if I want to go back and tweak anything, I can do it just to that max file in that folder and then render that back out and place it back into the timeline so I can keep refining the film. Okay, now let's see if I go on. So here's back to this shot. So here I'm getting closer and closer to this character. So again, if I save off even the far shot that I had and now reposition camera, and now he's got the piece of paper, so make sure that's in the shot. So I want continuity to make sure that's all working. So that'll now I can continue with the animation, and it's really all expression and lip sync that's really focused on this shot. But now I cut back out, so it's him starting in that same position that I had in the previous close-up. There it is. So here, it all hooks up. So if I use the other shot, bring that in and start from the last frame, get rid of the other animation, put that last frame at frame 1 of this scene, then I can continue my animation, reposition my camera. And the big one for this one is when he goes behind the counter and I have the new arms with the flash and the camera here. And then I can animate that jump up onto the counter. And here's like a super quick shot. If you saw, this was just frames long of him reacting. and then we cut back, and now we're closer. And here I jump the camera closer and closer, and then the flash bulbs go off, which end up blinding the hawk here. So back to this shot. This is where I add the swirls, change the hands a bit here where necessary, and then again, that's a pretty quick shot too. Two poses, this one and then this one, where he closes his eye, the swirls go away, closes his eye, and then I change the hand where he can point at that character. Then we're back to him into a close-up where he's got these the camera and the light bulbs, and it's just a simple action. It's all expression lip sync going on. And now here's a shot where I see him on the counter. I've got this 3/4 front view of the character here, of which now we cut to the close-up of the business card, and then he takes off and the card floats in the air and our character here grabs it. And then we have the final shot of him looking at it. Okay, so now we get a good feel for what's going on, and we can start pulling this apart and setting up the scenes. So here we are in my Premiere file with my animatic. So I just want to demonstrate with a couple shots here exactly what I'm talking about. First, I want to record or export my audio just for this scene. So here is, not sure what scene number this is. Let me see. I think it's 10. And let me just double check that on my storyboard. And it is scene 10. Yay, I got it right. So this little bar here is a render bar. So I'm going to set that up on the first frame of this scene. And then as I go through, you can hear the audio. It's quite loud here. Until we get to the first shot of the business card. So I'll go back. So this is where I'm setting up this render bar. And I'm going to export just the sound. I want to render the sound from this render bar as a WAV file. That I can take that file, which we've been doing, and putting it in the max file so I can work that up. Then, once I've rendered out the PNGs of that, let me see, I'm going to import, because I've already done that. Let me see, I'm going to go to, where is my, here we go. Import. Here, I'm going to go back up here. Here is a scene folder that I've been talking about. And in this scene folder, oh, this is for scene 12. Let me go back. And here I have scene folders for all of my shots. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's scene 1A, scene 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through to scene 13. So what I'm looking at is scene 10. And in here, I have, here's that audio, would have rendered out from my animatic. I'm keeping things in here that are unique to it. So I'm looking at the hawk. This is the background for the hawk, so I've got it here. I'd have the max file in here as well. Not sure why it's not showing up. I think it's because I'm just going to export, so it's not showing everything. And making sure I have a folder to render your PNGs and label them scene 10 PNGs. So now when I open those, there they all are. That's how many frames it took for that shot. Not a whole lot. So grab the first frame, make sure I select image sequence here, and press open. They all show up here. And now when I bring this in, it will place exactly where that storyboard worked. So now when I play this, and this is how we build the film, and this is what gets exciting. As you finish some scenes, plug it in your animatic, you can see your storyboard drawings.
Oh yeah. Here, let's city school get you on the road.
And there we go. I'm not sure what that sound thing happened there. I seem to have a little hiccup in my software. But you could see that finished animation that was happening in there. So that's cool. And then we do the same thing. We will then go importing. Go to import. I'm going to go back up and go to my scene 12. And here, in this folder, I've got some of the storyboard frames here. I've got my audio. I've got 2 audio because I did a redo or an update. So I've got that in here as well. But here's my folder with that sequence of PNGs, which I will make sure it's an image sequence. Open that up. And I will place that one on the timeline. I've already got it here. So now when I play forward...
On the road to a new career. Oh, thank you, strange sir.
There we go. So now that was setting this one up from this one. Exact same setup, same character, all the same elements and such. And this one, I've got him set up with the wings coming out and then him taking off. So if we play that through and take a look again.
Oh, yeah. Here, let City School get you on the road to a new career. Oh, thank you, strange sir.
There we go. So it just starts building and starts all plugging together. And then once all of this animatic, all the still images from your storyboard are replaced with final animation, that's when you got to finish film. And this process, following this process, really time manages really well and will be super efficient and should have no problem getting everything done and put together. Just go over the files a little bit more detail. So this is inside a bigger folder that was just labeled PSA City School Film. And now here's everything that I needed to put that together. I have, my Hawk line drawings here. Here's my Max construction, 3ds Max construction of the Hawk, which I imported into folders that, well, at least the first one that he shows up. And then from there, I did a save as I move forward. I've got all my background images and such here. So everything's put together. I've got my Hawk mouths, so when I set up that first lip sync with the Hawk, I've got the mouths here. In case I need to add a mouth, I have everything all nice and easy to find so that I can always go back and work with. This was my original audio recording that I had done, and then into the Premiere file and getting that working. So keeping everything all together really helps. And again, I've learned from experience. I've let things get all over the place, and then I'm searching everywhere trying to find, especially after you've been doing this for years and you've accumulated a lot of stuff. You need to find systems to make things easier. And if you got multiple assignments and projects and things, just keeping folders for certain projects and everything to do with them in there just makes life so much easier. So here's that scene 10 that I was talking about. So here is that max file. This is the scene 10 max file that has everything it needs into it. And I have the audio. I do have the background here. Really that would be in with the first scene, so I can always go back to it. And here's that folder for PNGs that I can pull that apart. So when I put that animation in, and then, if you get any feedback, tweak this or maybe retime that or whatever, I can just pop in, open up that max file, do the changes, and then redo the PNGs. I'd actually make another folder saying scene 10 PNG redo or what have you, just so I know which is the latest. Sometimes just dating things work, so you always open the latest date, and then you can import that into your Premiere file. And then here's that scene 12, and again, I brought in, and actually for a number of scenes, I brought in the storyboard images, so I've got them for reference. And you might have seen when I was doing construction on the character, I brought in a storyboard frame just so I can see exactly what I had planned for any other assets like the camera and things like that. So I do that as well, and I might even bring these into my Max file off to the side so I've got reference exactly what my poses were and where I want to go with it. Again, here's the audio. There's that update audio because I did a re-record because I had, again, didn't have a good microphone. I had a lot of background noise, so I had to re-record and fix that up. Then I've got my Max file, and then there's all my PNGs ready to roll that I can bring back in to the Premiere file. Okay, so if you plug away and you can, yeah, if you're, you know, because I have basically two scenes, the left side of the screen where I see 3/4 front of my character, and then the right side of the screen where I got the 3/4 front of the Huck character. So it's copying, doing a save as, and bringing that into the folders that are related to it. It just makes life really easy, and you've got the setup already there, and it's just moving forward with each scene and picking up the animation where it left off, so that you have that continuity and that hooking up of the scenes. Okay, so keeping organized, having a process, certainly it helps time manage, and it makes it so efficient. And when you have, just, 2 or 3 setups, it makes life very, very easy to plug through from scene to scene, and start plugging them in. And then as we do reviews and maybe pick a scene that needs fixing, you just go to that scene folder and tweak that scene, and you don't have a whole mess of things that you're trying to sort through or to make it work. Okay, so hopefully you'll find this helpful and give you some insight on setting up and making the last few weeks here very efficient to pull everything together and get the film done.